Discussion on verses 1 to 21 of 21. This chapter begins by drawing attention to some of the most striking rhythms of creation, urging thoughtful reflection on signs that unmistakably affirm the oneness of Allah, the Exalted, and establish that He alone is worthy of unconditional obedience in every moment. Chapter 92 Layl, verse 1.
By the night when it covers, and by the day when it appears.
The alternation of night and day is not a random occurrence, but a carefully regulated system that sustains life on Earth. The movement of the sun, in relation to the Earth, results in a perfectly measured succession of light and darkness. Daylight provides the ideal environment for people to work, seek their provision, travel, learn, and fulfill their worldly responsibilities. Night, on the other hand, offers a natural period for rest, physical recovery, and mental restoration. The human body is created in harmony with this pattern. Sleep cycles, energy levels, and emotional stability are all closely tied to the regular alternation between day and night. When this rhythm is respected, individuals and societies flourish. When it is disrupted, the effects are felt in physical health, mental well-being, and social order. The variation in the length of days and nights across the seasons further illustrates this wisdom. Longer days in certain periods of the year facilitate extended work, travel, and agricultural activity, while longer nights in other periods allow for increased rest and reflection. These seasonal shifts support the growth of crops, regulate climate, and maintain the balance of ecosystems across different regions of the world. If this balance were disturbed, the consequences would be severe. Excessively long days would lead to exhaustion, overheating, and the breakdown of natural biological rhythms, making it difficult for people and animals to function. Prolonged nights would restrict movement, hinder economic activity, and limit access to essential services. If nights were consistently too short, people would be deprived of sufficient rest, resulting in chronic fatigue, weakened immunity, and widespread mental health issues. Plants and crops, which depend on specific patterns of light and darkness, would also suffer, ultimately threatening food security for humanity and other creatures. This harmony, however, is not limited to the cycle of day and night. It is part of a vast, interconnected system, in which countless elements of the universe operate in precise coordination. The regularity of sunrise and sunset, the predictability of seasons, and the stability of natural laws all testify to a single, perfectly wise controller. Such order cannot be the product of blind chance. If there were multiple creators with independent wills, conflict and inconsistency would inevitably arise, and the delicate balance observed in creation would collapse. Chapter 21 Al-Anbiya, verse 22.
Had there been within them, i.e., the heavens and earth gods besides Allah, they both would have been ruined.
The alternation of night and day is therefore not merely a background feature of life, it is a living proof of divine unity and wisdom. Just as the world remains stable and balanced under the command of Allah, the Exalted, human beings can only attain true balance, mentally, physically, and spiritually, when they submit to His guidance and organize their lives according to the teachings He has revealed. When one reflects upon even the simplest human-made object, it becomes immediately apparent that such an item cannot come into existence without deliberate planning, specialized knowledge, and purposeful effort. A basic structure requires a designer to conceive it, materials to form it, and continuous maintenance to preserve its function. Chapter 92 Al-Layl, verse 3.
And by He who created the male and female.
If something as elementary as a tool or household item demands intention and craftsmanship, it is far more unreasonable to imagine that the human being, whose complexity surpasses all human inventions, could emerge without a creator or continue functioning without a sustainer. The human body operates through an astonishing network of interconnected systems, each dependent on the others for survival. The heart circulates blood with precise rhythm, the lungs regulate oxygen intake and carbon dioxide release, the brain coordinates thought, memory, movement, and sensation, the immune system identifies and neutralizes countless threats. None of these systems function in isolation. They rely on exact timing, balance, and harmony. Even a minor disturbance in temperature, blood chemistry, or organ function can lead to illness or death. This delicate equilibrium reveals not only intentional design, but also continuous regulation and oversight. Beyond the physical structure, the human being possesses mental, emotional, and perceptive faculties of extraordinary depth. Memory, imagination, reasoning, intuition, and emotion all operate in ways that modern understanding has yet to fully grasp. Despite centuries of study and technological advancement, humanity remains unable to replicate or fully explain the intricacies of consciousness, perception, or the inner workings of the mind. This limitation highlights that the one who created and sustains the human being possesses knowledge that is complete, unrestricted, and far beyond human comprehension. Thus, the existence, structure, and ongoing functioning of the human being stand as clear signs of intentional design, perfect wisdom, and absolute power. They point unmistakably to a creator who not only brought human beings into existence, but sustains them at every moment, Allah the Exalted. Another profound aspect, a divine planning, is the perpetuation of the human race, through the birth of successive generations until the appointed end of time. Chapter 92 Layl, verse 3.
And by He who created the male and female.
In His infinite wisdom, Allah the Exalted has endowed human beings with innate desires and feelings that draw them toward the opposite gender. These inclinations serve a dual purpose. They bring joy, companionship, and emotional fulfillment, and they ensure the survival and continuation of humanity through procreation. Without such natural tendencies, the majority of people would lack motivation to marry or have children, putting the continuation of the human race at risk long before its divinely appointed conclusion. Chapter 30 Rum, verse 21.
And of His signs is that He created for you from yourselves mates that you may find tranquility in them, and He placed between you love and mercy.
This verse highlights the profound wisdom behind human relationships. In youth, individuals are naturally drawn together by love, attraction, and emotional affinity, which motivates the formation of families and the birth of children. As life progresses and physical beauty diminishes, mercy gradually becomes the sustaining force in the relationship. Mercy manifests as patience, care, mutual support, and understanding, allowing couples to remain united even when the initial feelings of attraction wane. This natural progression, from youthful love to enduring mercy, demonstrates divine planning, as it ensures both companionship and family stability across all stages of life. Human theories, such as evolution, may account for reproduction, but they cannot explain the emotional bonds, patience, and compassion that preserve family units beyond reproductive years. The divine placement of love and mercy transforms companionship into a source of spiritual growth, moral development, and personal refinement. It is within these bonds that individuals learn selflessness, sacrifice, patience, and empathy, qualities that strengthen not only families but also the wider community. Chapter 30 Rum, verse 21.
Indeed, in that are signs for a people who give thought.
This statement invites reflection, emphasizing that the presence of love in youth and mercy in later life is intentional, guiding couples to remain united through all stages of life. The family unit, grounded in love and sustained by mercy, functions not merely as a social structure but as a spiritual institution. It nurtures faith, cultivates character, and fosters gratitude toward the Creator. Divine planning thus ensures that human companionship is both a practical necessity for survival and a source of tranquility, moral refinement, and spiritual reward. Through this design, Allah, the Exalted, safeguards the continuity of the human race while granting individuals the blessings of happiness, companionship, and emotional fulfillment. These signs encourage reflection, gratitude, and obedience, demonstrating the perfection of divine wisdom and the futility of denying it. Spousal relationships are therefore not only worldly arrangements but spiritual instruments intended to cultivate peace of mind, patience, and mercy. Every stage of human life, every bond of companionship, and every nurturing act within the family is under divine guidance, contributing to both individual well-being and societal stability. In conclusion, the divine placement of love and mercy within human relationships is a clear sign of the foresight and care of Allah, the Exalted. It ensures the continuation of humanity, provides emotional and spiritual tranquility, and nurtures personal and communal growth. Those who reflect upon this sign will recognize the perfection of divine planning, and will be inspired to live with gratitude, humility, and obedience, using their relationships as a means to draw closer to Allah, the Exalted, and to prepare for accountability on the Day of Judgment. After examining various signs within creation that clearly demonstrate the oneness of Allah, the Exalted, and the necessity of obeying Him in all circumstances, Allah, the Exalted, emphasizes that not everyone will embrace His divine guidance. This is because following divine teachings often requires a person to act against their worldly desires and personal aspirations, which can seem more immediately appealing than spiritual obligations. Chapter 92 Layl, verse 4.
Indeed, your efforts are diverse.
The first and best group consists of those who fully surrender their lives and possessions to Allah, the Exalted, fulfilling the purpose of their creation. These individuals consume only what is necessary to sustain themselves, dedicating the remainder of their efforts toward gaining knowledge, strengthening their faith, and seeking closeness to Allah, the Exalted, in both this world and the next. Outwardly, they may appear to abstain from worldly pleasures, but in reality, they experience a profound sense of inner peace and contentment. Their lives are marked by a balanced mental and physical state, the correct placement of people and resources, and a preparedness for their accountability on the Day of Judgment. Consequently, their devotion leads to tranquility in both worlds. Chapter 92 Layl, verses 5-7.
As for he who gives and fears Allah, and believes in the best, Islam, we will ease him toward ease.
The second group comprises those who fulfill obligatory duties and engage in whatever traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, they encounter, but do not actively seek further knowledge or strive for spiritual excellence. These individuals focus primarily on enjoying the lawful pleasures of the world. Although they avoid sinful behavior, it is hoped they will attain Allah's forgiveness in the next world. Yet their indulgence in worldly pleasures results in a prolonged accountability, as highlighted in the hadith found in Sahih Bukhari, number 6536, where the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, warns that whoever has their deeds scrutinized will experience punishment. On the Day of Judgment, standing for extended periods while witnessing the realities of one's deeds constitutes a severe form of retribution. Despite enjoying temporary worldly comforts, this group will not attain the profound peace that comes from correctly utilizing the blessings granted to them. The third group is the most unfortunate. They neither devote their lives to Allah, the Exalted, as the first group does, nor do they enjoy the lawful pleasures of life in moderation like the second group. Instead, they hoard wealth and worldly resources without fulfilling even their permissible desires. This in-between state leaves them deprived in both worlds. They gain neither the comfort of balanced living nor ease in the hereafter. Their mismanagement of blessings results in a lack of inner peace, dissatisfaction, and spiritual vulnerability. Because the second and third groups fail to harmonize their verbal declaration of faith with the correct use of the blessings they possess, they resemble those who have rejected faith altogether. Consequently, all groups outside the first will experience an unbalanced mental and physical state, misplace priorities, and inadequately prepare for their accountability on the Day of Judgment. This leads to stress, hardship, and misfortune in both worlds, regardless of any worldly luxuries they may possess. Their relationships, wealth, and social standing will fail to support them during times of difficulty, whether in this life, at the moment of death, in the grave, or on Judgment Day. Chapter 92 Layl, verses 8-11.
But as for he who withholds and considers himself free of need, and denies the best, Islam, we will ease him toward difficulty, and his wealth will not avail him when he falls.
These verses make it clear that true ease, contentment, and preparedness for accountability cannot be achieved through mere possession of wealth or outward displays of piety. It is the mindful, conscientious, and balanced use of blessings, guided by knowledge and submission to Allah, the Exalted, that ensures peace of mind, harmony in life, and ultimate success in both worlds. Chapter 92 Layl, verse 12.
Indeed, incumbent upon us is guidance.
No matter how advanced a society becomes, and regardless of the knowledge it accumulates across various disciplines, including the study of human behavior, psychology, and physiology, it remains utterly impossible for humanity to formulate a code of conduct that perfectly aligns with human nature and accommodates every circumstance, condition, and scenario that individuals or societies may encounter throughout their existence on Earth. This task is fundamentally beyond human capability, for humanity is still uncovering basic insights about its own nature, such as the functions at different regions of the brain, let alone possessing the comprehensive understanding required to construct an infallible system that guarantees tranquility and justice on both an individual and societal level. Only Allah, the Exalted, can accomplish this, for He is the creator of all things and His knowledge is limitless, encompassing the entirety of the past, present, and future. He alone is therefore qualified to provide humanity with a code of conduct, a divine standard that clearly distinguishes good from evil, benefit from harm, and the path to peace of mind from the path that leads to stress and imbalance. History provides undeniable evidence that whenever this divine code of conduct was implemented sincerely in the lives of individuals, it produced tranquility, justice, and harmony within society. Communities that adhered to divine guidance experienced stability, fairness, and mutual compassion, while societies that abandoned it inevitably fell into corruption, oppression, and disorder. For this reason, individuals must embrace the divine code of conduct bestowed upon them, recognizing that it is the most advantageous for their well-being, even when certain elements conflict with their personal desires. They must conduct themselves like a wise patient who acknowledges and follows the medical advice of a skilled physician, understanding that the treatment is ultimately in their best interest, even if it involves bitter medicine or a strict dietary regimen. Just as the patient eventually attains physical and mental health through disciplined adherence, the one who follows divine guidance attains inner balance, clarity, and lasting peace. Ultimately, since the entire creation belongs to Allah, the Exalted, and is under His complete control and jurisdiction, every person is inherently bound to comply with His laws and commands. Chapter 92 Layl, verse 13.
And indeed to us belongs the hereafter and the first life.
Just as a citizen faces consequences when they fail to obey the laws of the government that governs their country, so too will a person face challenges and accountability in both worlds if they fail to obey the rules set by the owner of the universe. While an individual may leave a country to escape its laws or even work to change those laws, there exists no place beyond the jurisdiction of Allah, the Exalted. The laws of the universe, like the ultimate rules of ownership, cannot be altered by human desires or efforts. Similarly, just as a homeowner establishes the rules of their house regardless of any objections from guests or occupants, Allah, the Exalted, as the creator and owner of the universe, alone determines the laws governing all creation. These laws exist not for arbitrary reasons, but to ensure the balance, harmony, and well-being of individuals and society as a whole. Complying with these divine rules is therefore essential for one's benefit, safeguarding mental and physical balance and ensuring preparedness for accountability on the Day of Judgment. A person has two choices. They may strive to understand the wisdom behind Allah's commands and prohibitions, recognizing how these guidelines benefit them individually, benefit society collectively, and foster tranquility and harmony in life, or they may reject these teachings and instead follow their own desires. Worshipping desires leads to misuse of blessings, imbalance in life, and unpreparedness for the inevitable accountability in the hereafter. For those who choose to disregard divine rules, they must understand that the consequences of their actions are unavoidable. No protests, complaints, or attempts to escape will shield them from the outcome. In contrast, those who submit to Allah, the Exalted, and utilize the blessings granted to them in accordance with the Holy Quran and the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, align themselves with the source of true peace, guidance, and success in both this world and the next. Compliance with divine laws is therefore not a matter of convenience or preference, but an unavoidable and essential reality for the welfare of every human being. Chapter 92 Layl, verse 14.
So I have warned you of a fire which is blazing.
One of the primary reasons Islamic teachings describe elements of the hereafter, such as the Day of Judgment, paradise, and hell, in such vivid and detailed terms is to confront and correct the false beliefs held by previous nations. Many people of earlier times either denied these realities outright or mocked them, treating them as fanciful tales rather than inevitable truths. This dismissive attitude was often rooted in wishful thinking. People hoped to continue disobeying Allah, the Exalted, while imagining that they would still attain salvation in both worlds. These false assumptions took many forms. Some relied solely on the intercession of a righteous person, without committing to personal reform or sincere obedience. Others believed that a mere verbal claim of faith would guarantee their salvation, regardless of their actions. Some presumed that excuses and repentance would be automatically accepted on the Day of Judgment, even if their lives reflected persistent wrongdoing. Still others imagined that the punishments of the hereafter would be comparable to worldly consequences, failing to appreciate the severity and permanence of divine justice. To correct these misconceptions, Islamic teachings present the realities of the hereafter in explicit detail, leaving no room for misinterpretation or wishful thinking. These descriptions are not intended to induce despair or hopelessness, but rather to awaken the hearts of people to the truth, and to encourage consistent practical obedience to Allah, the Exalted. True obedience requires properly utilizing the blessings one has been granted, whether health, wealth, knowledge, or influence, in ways that are pleasing to Him, as outlined in the Holy Quran and the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Internalizing these teachings equips a person with both awareness and accountability. It prevents complacency, guards against reliance on false hopes, and encourages a life of sincerity, reflection, and action. By following this guidance, individuals not only protect themselves from the severe consequences of neglect, but also establish a harmonious balance in their mental and physical states, properly place all aspects and relationships in their lives, and prepare effectively for their responsibilities on the Day of Judgment. In this way, the vivid depiction of the hereafter serves as both a warning and a roadmap, guiding people toward lasting success and peace in both this world and the next. Obeying Allah, the Exalted, often requires setting aside personal desires, ambitions, and worldly comforts, which naturally conflicts with the inclinations of many people. As a result, numerous individuals persist in disobeying Him, prioritizing their own pleasures over divine guidance. This persistent disobedience has profound consequences on both their mental and physical well-being. By neglecting the proper use of the blessings they have been granted, they fail to achieve balance in their lives, misplacing everything and everyone around them. Family relationships become strained, friendships turn shallow, and careers and material wealth may no longer serve as sources of fulfillment but rather as burdens that generate stress and anxiety. In many cases, this misalignment leads individuals to assign blame to the wrong things or people for their stress. A spouse, child, or close friend may be wrongfully held responsible, resulting in broken relationships and further emotional distress. Over time, these patterns can deepen into serious mental health struggles, including depression, addiction, and even suicidal tendencies. Observing the lives of the rich, famous, or otherwise privileged often illustrates this truth. Despite their access to luxury and comfort, their failure to properly use Allah's, the Exalted, blessings results in profound unrest and dissatisfaction. Furthermore, because they neglected preparation for their accountability on the Day of Judgment, their punishment in the hereafter will be far greater. Chapter 92 Layl, verses 15 to 16.
None will enter to burn therein except the most wretched one, who had denied and turned away.
These verses highlight a critical truth. Mere verbal declaration of faith is not sufficient for true salvation. In this world, a person may be recognized as a Muslim based on outward statements or public identification, but ultimate judgment in the hereafter rests entirely with Allah, the Exalted, who knows the deepest reality of every heart. The sincerity, intention, and consistency of one's belief are hidden from others and fully known only to Allah. A person who professes belief in Allah, the Exalted, and accountability in the hereafter, yet fails to support this claim with righteous actions, moral conduct, and adherence to divine guidance, may in reality lack true faith. Consequently, on the Day of Judgment, such an individual could be regarded as a non-Muslim, regardless of how their faith was recognized by society or law in this world. This distinction emphasizes a central principle of Islam. Faith must be demonstrated and lived, not simply spoken. Words without actions are hollow, and cannot secure the peace and salvation that come from genuine belief. Moreover, faith is delicate and requires constant attention, much like a small flame that will fade if deprived of fuel. Continuous acts of obedience serve as the nourishment that keeps this flame alive. Neglecting these spiritual responsibilities gradually weakens faith, leaving the individual vulnerable to losing the very inner light that guides their decisions, character, and moral awareness. Such a loss has far-reaching consequences. It destabilizes the mind and heart, disrupts one's relationships and priorities, and ultimately impairs preparation for accountability in the hereafter. In this context, sustaining faith is not a passive or occasional effort, but an active, lifelong pursuit. It demands diligence, self-discipline, and sincerity. By consistently nurturing faith through knowledge, reflection, and action, a person maintains the inner light that ensures balance, tranquility, and guidance in both this life and the next. Conversely, neglecting this spiritual cultivation risks not only worldly hardship, manifested in stress, confusion, and moral disorientation, but also the most devastating loss, the loss of one's eternal guidance and success in the hereafter. Faith, therefore, must be understood as both a privilege and a responsibility. A gift from Allah, the Exalted, that requires careful preservation, and a source of light that illuminates the path to peace, purpose, and salvation. Every believer is called to safeguard it through deliberate, ongoing effort, knowing that the strength and permanence of this inner flame determine the state of their heart in this world and their fate in the life to come. Chapter 92 Layl, verses 17 to 20.
But the righteous one will avoid it. He who gives from his assets to purify himself, and not giving, for anyone who has done him a favor to be rewarded, but only seeking the countenance of his Lord Most High.
These verses emphasize that the inward foundation of faith is rooted in sincerity and the purity of intention. Intention is the hidden core that gives meaning to every action, whether it is a spiritual duty, an act of kindness, or even daily worldly work. The Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, clearly warned in a hadith found in Jami at Tirmidhi, number 3154, that any deed performed for reasons other than pleasing Allah the Exalted will be fruitless in the hereafter. Those who act for worldly recognition or personal gain will be told to seek their reward from the very people or things they served, but no worldly entity can compensate them in the eternal realm. The significance of intention is further confirmed in the foundational hadith found in Sahih Bukhari, number 1, which establishes that all deeds are judged based on their underlying intention. This principle extends to the entirety of faith. Without the correct intention, even the most outwardly impressive acts of worship, service, or helpful deeds carry no real value before Allah the Exalted. Thus, a person must ensure that every act, whether prayer, charity, or beneficial work, is directed sincerely for Allah the Exalted, so that it will bring reward in both worlds. One practical sign of this proper mindset is that the individual does not expect recognition, gratitude, or praise from others. When a person seeks human appreciation for their deeds, it exposes an impure intention. Acting for people's approval is inherently unstable, because human appreciation is inconsistent and often lacking. This misalignment can lead to frustration, bitterness, and feelings of wasted effort. This is frequently observed among parents or relatives who perform their responsibilities primarily to gain acknowledgement, rather than seeking the pleasure of Allah the Exalted. Conversely, the person who acts purely for the sake of Allah the Exalted experiences a unique inner serenity. They fulfill their responsibilities, support others, and perform good deeds without attachment to external validation. Even if their efforts go unnoticed or unappreciated by those around them, they remain content, for they trust that Allah the Exalted fully knows and will reward their sincere efforts. This mindset cultivates resilience, patience, and peace of mind, allowing a person to live with clarity and contentment rather than frustration or bitterness. Ultimately, sincerity in intention safeguards one from disappointment and ensures that every deed contributes to their spiritual success, granting them reward and tranquility both in this life and in the hereafter, through obtaining a balanced mental and physical state, and through correctly placing everything and everyone within their life. Chapter 92 Layl, verse 21.
And he is going to be satisfied.
This understanding reinforces that for every person, the quality of intention is not a minor aspect, but the very cornerstone of faith and action. Without it, Even the most outwardly commendable acts risk being rendered ineffective in the eternal perspective, leaving the individual deprived of the ultimate reward on the day of judgment. Chapter 18 Al-Kahf, verse 110.
So whoever would hope for the meeting with his Lord, let him do righteous work and not associate in the worship of his Lord anyone.
Therefore, a person must follow Islamic teachings for their own benefit, even when these teachings challenge personal desires or preferences. This can be compared to a patient who faithfully follows a doctor's instructions, taking bitter medicine and adhering to a strict regimen, fully aware that it is necessary for their health. Just as the patient gains physical and mental wellness by obeying the doctor's guidance, a person who sincerely implements the principles of Islam attains balance in their life, harmonizing their mental, emotional, and physical states, and placing their relationships and responsibilities in proper perspective. This outcome is only possible because Allah, the Exalted, possesses complete knowledge of human needs, circumstances, and potential challenges. Human understanding, no matter how advanced, is limited. No amount of research or expertise can address every difficulty a person may face, prevent all forms of stress, or guarantee that relationships and responsibilities are managed perfectly. Human advice is constrained by limited experience, biases, and incomplete knowledge. Allah, the Exalted, alone understands every aspect of existence and provides guidance through the Holy Quran and the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, enabling people to live in a way that truly benefits them. The difference between those who follow these teachings and those who ignore them is apparent in their lives. Just as patients may not fully grasp the science behind their treatment yet trust the doctor, people are encouraged to reflect upon the wisdom of Islamic teachings and see the benefits of obedience in action. Following this guidance ensures that the blessings a person has been given, such as health, wealth, knowledge, and relationships, are used wisely, resulting in stability, contentment, and peace of mind. Approaching Islam with an open and unbiased heart allows one to recognize its truth and experience its positive impact. Chapter 12 Yusuf, verse 108.
Say, this is my way, I invite to Allah with insight, I and those who follow me.
Additionally, Allah the Exalted alone controls the spiritual heart, the center of true peace and inner contentment. Chapter 53 and Najm, verse 43.
And that it is He who makes one laugh and weep.
In conclusion, following Islamic teachings is not merely a matter of outward compliance. It is a path to achieving mental and physical balance, harmonizing relationships, and attaining lasting inner peace. By acting in accordance with the wisdom of Allah, the Exalted, a person positions themselves to benefit fully from the blessings they have been given, and to prepare properly for both this world and the hereafter. Chapter 16 and Nahl, verse 97.
Whoever does righteousness, whether male or female, while he is a believer, we will surely cause him to live a good life, and we will surely give them their reward in the hereafter according to the best of what they used to do.
All praise is due to Allah, Lord of the worlds, and may peace and blessings be upon His final messenger, Muhammad, his noble family and companions.